So this is the moment we've been waiting for. Alan Jackson finally speaks out. And not only does he speak out and take a strong stance on the court proceedings and defends a lot of the jurors who have been attacked, but he has some shots to take at the prosecution and the Commonwealth in general. We're also going to hear the commissioner finally spoke out as well. I know, we can't believe it. Morrissey had something to say on this, and it's very profound. So you guys make sure you stick around for that. But before we get into Alan Jackson, I wanted to show you guys this video about another juror is coming to the forefront and giving her opinion about what she thought during the trial deliberations and how she felt about Karen Read before the trial even started. Here, let's check this out.
This morning, as Karen Read settles into her new life post-acquittal, more of those who decided her fate now speaking out. One juror saying she had been leaning toward finding Read guilty, but changed her mind.
Wow.
I'm not there to say the defense's story was right or wrong. I think there was things that we saw, things that we heard, the evidence that could have fit that scenario. So again, that's the whole doubt thing.
The jury foreman, asking to stay anonymous, telling the Boston Herald, "We had to look at the evidence, and a lot of it didn't make sense. There was no meat, no aha moment. No one proved there was a collision." Prosecutor,
as one of our favorite guys from the YSL trial said,
so what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence, none.
Absolutely none.
"No meat, no aha moment. No one proved there was a collision." Prosecutors accused Read of slamming her SUV into her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. But her defense team argued she was framed by police after Read dropped O'Keefe off at a house party with other members of law enforcement on the night in question. A theory some jurors said they found persuasive.
I think Joe O'Keefe went inside the house and something happening there.
But some of those who've come under scrutiny through Read's defense at trial, like the former Boston police sergeant who owned the house, also now speaking out and continuing to deny any wrongdoing.
There are police officers, EMTs on your front lawn. You're an officer. Why don't you just go outside and investigate or take a look?
That's the most ridiculous question that people always ask. What am I supposed to do? Run out front in my underwear and start running yellow tape around the fire hydrant?
Oh man, guys, I still cannot believe the guy in the same breath said he would take a bullet for John O'Keefe is going to look the mother of John O'Keefe in the eye and say, "Hey lady, what you want me to do? Run outside in my underwear?" Yeah. I'm going to use an extreme example. Those of you that have children, or let's say you have a brother or sister. If your brother or sister or child is laying there in the snow, let's just use his own kids, for example. If one of his kids or his wife were laying there face down in the snow, as a Boston police officer living in Canton, you don't think this guy is going to go out there and start doing something? But hey, it was John O'Keefe. It was just the guy he said he would take a bullet for. What is he supposed to do? He was in his underwear. He was comfortable. Peggy, sorry. John Sr., sorry. I was busy. Get this clown out of here.
Run out front in my underwear and start running yellow tape around the fire hydrant.
As for Read's family, while relieved the trial is now in the rearview mirror, they acknowledge O'Keefe's death may stay unsolved.
I question that. I struggle with that. I think our family has to make peace with the idea that we may never.
And life will never be the same.
I don't know what will become of our lives. I don't think we'll ever go back to where we were prior to January 29th, 2022.
You got to get out of there.
So Laura, what about
Karen? Okay, no, we've heard enough from these wonderful people over at Today. I don't want to hear any more questions that they have. Let's go ahead and see what Alan Jackson had to say now that we heard from yet another juror that said, I was kind of thinking Carrie was going to be guilty, but I saw the evidence as the trial went along, and I could not find her guilty of John O'Keefe's death. Well, Alan Jackson has something to say about this as well. Karen Read attorney Alan Jackson blasts the special prosecutor in news statement. Karen Read's attorney Alan Jackson issued a lengthy statement on Tuesday blasting special prosecutor Hank Brennan over his egregious breach of prosecutorial ethics after Karen Read's acquittal in the 2022 death of John O'Keefe. Jackson's critical comments come after Brennan on Monday said that a campaign of intimidation and abuse by the internet by Reed's camp led the jury in her second trial to find her not guilty of second-degree murder and manslaughter. She was convicted of drunk driving. Hey guys, let's put aside the fact that the first jury already said in multiple interviews, and as we can see with the hung jury, that, oh, the murder charge, we didn't have an issue with. We knew we were going to acquit her on that. What? That should have already let you know in the first place. Let's just end this thing here. But no, Hank wants to blame it on the media and Karen Reed's camp in this trial when you couldn't get it done the first time. Come on, my guy. Jackson also fired a shot at disgraced Norfolk District Attorney Michael Morrissey for having no interest in seeking justice for John O'Keefe. The jury handed down its verdict last Wednesday after deliberating over 4 days. Jackson first shared his statement with Boston's 25, Ted Daniel. And they have the link to it there. And here's Alan Jackson's full statement. It gets good, guys. What does he say? The jury has spoken, but Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan, in an egregious breach of prosecutorial ethics, has tried to publicly shame and discredit that very jury. For him to attempt to supplant his personal views for that of the jury is a deliberate attempt to save face in the wake of a unanimous rejection of the prosecution's terrible, lacking, disgusting, corrupt case. I added those words in there, but I think AJ would agree. The rules of professional conduct are clear. A prosecutor should support the legitimacy of the justice system and promote public confidence in its operations. Openly attacking a jury's verdict because he disagrees with it undermines the centuries-old edict. Mr. Brennan claims that this investigation was thorough, and he also claims that it was handled with honor and integrity.
What? Stop the cap.
If that were true, the Commonwealth would have uncovered what we, the defense, uncovered. Hidden exculpatory evidence, lies, and perjury by the Commonwealth's own witnesses, cops covering for other cops, a biased and corrupt lead investigator with personal ties to witnesses, and inculpatory and suspicious conduct by a myriad of witnesses. And we could name them all. We won't do that here. You guys know who they are. The only job of an ethical prosecutor is to seek the truth in a just and fair manner. The Commonwealth fell wildly short of that responsibility. Theirs was not an effort to find justice for John O'Keefe. Rather, it was a personal vendetta against Karen Reed and DA Michael Morrissey and his hand-picked prosecutors, and it cost the people of Norfolk County millions. The fact is, Karen Reed is factually innocent, and this case never should have gone to trial in the first place. We agree. This case is a stark reminder that there has been a complete breakdown in what is supposed to be our justice system. Those in power are more interested in protecting themselves than the citizens that they were sworn to protect. Brian, in your underwear. Disgusting. Gallagher not getting the ring camera footage. Proctor, need I say more? The Commonwealth's defamatory public comments ring hollow to the very constituents they are supposed to serve. It is now crystal clear that disgraced DA Michael Morrissey has no interest in actually seeking justice for John O'Keefe by identifying and prosecuting the real killer or killers. You guys on this channel, we did a poll and you said you think it was a team effort. Could be right. The Commonwealth would rather simply condemn the jury and its fair and lawful verdict. We are thankful for the jury's commitment to the truth, and they found their way to a just verdict. But make no mistake, if DA Michael Morrissey had his way, the truth would never have come out in this case. And shout out to TB as well. It would have been lost somewhere in private and deleted conversations that would never have seen the light of day. Corruption like this doesn't happen in isolation. How many innocent people have been railroaded because of failures in our judicial system? We as citizens must demand more of our institutions, and that is the Honorable Attorney Alan Jackson. Well said. And we're going to get into another video to the last point that he made. The people actually standing up, because in the next video, we're going to talk about the foreman. You thought he was done talking. You thought he did a great interview on today. Well, get ready for what's coming up next, because he is going to take it a step further than Alan Jackson did and say, I don't know what was going on in this case. I sat there for week after week after week and saw the evidence, and we need to get the FBI involved. We're going to talk about that in a second. But before we do, let's see what else was said during this. Assistant District Attorney Adam Lally spearheaded the prosecution's effort in Reed's first trial, which ended with the hung jury. Brennan, who replaced him in the Reed trial, said Monday that he is disappointed in the verdict and the fact that he couldn't achieve justice for John O'Keefe and his family. Brennan said that the evidence in the murder case led to only one person. Yeah, you, for bringing this to trial in the first place. After an independent and thorough review of all evidence, I concluded that the evidence led to one person, Brennan said, and only one person. Neither the closed federal investigation nor my independent review led me to identify any other possible suspect or person reasonable for the death of John O'Keefe, Brennan added. Now here's where it gets interesting. Brennan continued, we cannot condone witness abuse, causing participants to worry about their own safety or that of their families. It is my hope that with the verdict, the witnesses and their families will be left alone. The harassment of these innocent victims and family members is deplorable and should never happen again in the case in this Commonwealth. Last week, Norfolk District Attorney Michael Morrissey issued a 4-word statement in response to Reed's verdict. He said, "The jury has spoken." There it is. I never thought I would agree with Michael Morrissey, but I think he got this one right. The jury has spoken. Hank should have left it at that. The jury has spoken. I pray for justice for the family of the O'Keefe and keep it moving. Not this BS about, oh, people feeling intimidated. You don't think the folks who live and the folks who are on the jury in this area are concerned about their well-being when they see how people with the ultimate power, the Boston police, the Canton police, conducted themselves during this trial? That's a story for another day. Either way, let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. Shout out to AJ for finally speaking out. And I think it was very, very well said in his response to Hank Brennan's disgusting statement about the jury and their decision.